They have to, I don't really ever do anything but change it.
Jeff says we gotta do this formally, so we'll call the meeting to order.
Oh, now we're gonna listen to me? All right. We're gonna move it to prison, Bruce.
Oh, I second. All in favor?
Y'all just like
It's
made an
warmer, we
official
could sit
vote
outside.
out of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't making a motion.
Oh,
Last thing I need is people thinking that,
we're live, you know.
that's all right.
Do we have any minutes, reports
No.
filed?
No.
No.
reports.
Liaison reports. Upcoming meetings.
You got Cole County Communities in the morning.
Yeah, tomorrow's 6:45.
You got University of Missouri, Cole County Extension Thursday night, tomorrow night. Lions Club tomorrow night. Board of, Eco Devo meeting for the Board of Realtors tomorrow. East Side Business Friday morning.
You're busy. You're a busy
He
guy.
doesn't know how to say no.
Well, I learned how to do that.
Okay. Well, let's jump into long-range planning for, is Christie coming?
No, I don't think so. No, I didn't
Okay.
really invite anybody, but so.
Oh,
But they came, so it's
Okay.
okay.
I was gonna say
You guys,
huh?
just the regular agenda type thing. No, I did not invite any departments. Those ones that are up there, we had actually requested from them by a certain date, what their needs were as far as from the departments. And those are the departments that we received anything from, the auditor's office, the collector, Bill Farr, Health Department, Juvenile, Public Administrator, Public Works, and the Recorder of Deeds.
Jim, you didn't receive anything from me?
Nope.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it is. It's in there.
I'm pretty sure you did. Send an email.
Yeah,
You sent an email?
we got it. Did he just send it to us? I don't know.
No, it was in, I thought I had it in with this.
Oh, maybe, did you just send an email to them, maybe? That's okay. All right, well, I'll find it and add it to the list then, the assessor. Maybe you did.
I don't have it in with
Emergency
this,
management.
I saw it, so.
Okay, I'll find it or get it somehow. So, again, I mean, we can go one by one and go down through each department, or I don't know how you want to run this. We did that spreadsheet before, as far as.
There you go, Debbie, it's on its way.
Thank you. As far as the buildings go, we had, dang it, it's not talking to me. You know, by building, we had looked at some of the main items per building. Chris, I'll let you, and I did do a priority list, because you had mentioned the last time that you wanted a priority list by year. I didn't go out any more years as far as what Greg had on his list. But I know he did building by building, a detailed list of everything that was needed in those buildings. So,
You did this list by building of everything that you thought needed?
When I was hired, Chris Wrigley and Mark asked me to do the stuff that he's building.
Sort of these on.
Yeah.
So I guess where I was just, I'd like for you to kind of prioritize those things as, and I don't know if we need to go into this detailed of a list, but what you think needs to be done year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and if we can get it on this chart, then I think that gives us an idea of how many dollars we need to spend in that year on maintenance issues within county buildings. Then once we start there, then we can start taking a look at some of our other objectives with some of their long-range plans.
Didn't you have that on one of them forms? On the ones that you were saying was like,
I have kind of.
Well, he's got some priorities, A, B, C, D. It's kind of this list that I have here.
because we did that a while back.
Right.
Yeah. And I've kind of updated it each year, and some of the Cs have gone to Bs and Bs have gone to As.
A's have stayed A's, we just haven't had money to do it all.
Correct.
So, I mean, A, Bs, and Cs really don't tell me what you need to have done now. I mean, you get what I'm saying? I mean,
You want me to put
what,
we
what,
need to do
what,
in
what
15,
can wait?
What we need to do
what-
15, what we need to do 16, 17, and go on.
Right, I mean, if,
Shit, I don't have it.
I mean, and it's all gonna come down to how much money we got.
Oh, it's a budget thing, okay.
I guess maybe I may have misunderstood this. To me, I filled this out as if we were going to a different location,
Well, we're gonna get there, Larry.
not if we were staying here.
Well, but a lot of these things too, so like courthouse and
Well, I know that
health
for him, but I'm-
and
I guess
Pringer,
I'm
right?
Saying for what I filled out
Mhm.
for my office was if we were relocating, because obviously what we have now is plenty adequate for us.
Right. Well, I think that's something that we're definitely gonna look at, but we gotta look at what our maintenance costs are for each one of these buildings. And so just for, Carnegie, for instance, I mean, there's $385,000 worth of stuff that needs to be done over there. And so, and then at health, there's $150,000 worth of stuff here too. And so, I mean, in my opinion, all that plays into whether we stay in these buildings, whether we move, and that comes down to some of the other objectives that I'd written down, that some of the things that I wanted to try to achieve over the next 5 years with our facilities. So, you guys got anything else, or?
I think that's what I thought we were meeting about, was what we're doing at the facilities. If we're gonna take and move people around, if we wanna look at, we need more space, so we need to plan on replacing the old jail. We need to look at adding on to the back of this building, or what we're gonna do. So
Okay.
that's kinda what I thought we were doing today. The maintenance things, I guess we need to look at some point too.
All right, so we can work on that too. I mean, I think, some of these maintenance issues have to come into play too, but, so some of the things that I wrote down was, so out of Public Works, that we needed to expand the fuel station, wash bay, and probably expansion for planning or offices. So, the health department, they have outgrown their facility, and they need more space, so, that was another issue for me. And then I think we all wanted to try to move out of the Carnegie building. I think that was one of our objectives, was to get out of the Carnegie building. One of my questions was what to do with the old jail. We can't just let it sit there forever. The courts have said they need more space. Parking, ability to consolidate offices and interact better between the offices. So those were a list of things that I came up with, and so I was hoping that we could, if you guys had some other things that you wanted to try to achieve, that we could try to see how we go about getting those done.
Yeah, and then we're kind of looking ahead to see if 5 years down the road, if you're going to need more space or what to do there too. But to me, Cole County Health, that's cramming 28 people in there is something else. But then we've got a lot of problems with the Pringer Center, just as far as maintenance. But
Well, do you want to start with as far as money goes, what money, and then set your vision, your priority list as far as what you guys think is the most important. Obviously, it always depends on how much money we have as far as how much we can do. Set aside each year so much of that money for maintenance, because it's gonna happen. All of that maintenance is still gonna be there. And then see where we wanna go. Do we wanna tie this into the next 5-year sales tax? I know, as far as that goes, because if for some reason that wouldn't pass, we'd be definitely on a maintenance, very minimum maintenance from then on out, because next year is the last year for the sales tax.
So, I guess the place to start is, do we all agree that we need to do something with health department? I mean, is that number one?
I think so, yeah.
Where are you at, Jeff?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't even think the health department we need to talk about, that's under us. I think with the other elected officials here, that's what we all talk about today. With Chris getting him out of Carnegie, where we're gonna put him, what are our options? Health department, we're not gonna bring them on campus here. I know at one point you looked, or was thinking about moving
Mm-hmm.
completely off campus. I'm on campus here.
Right.
I don't know if I think that's necessarily a good idea. I think we should stay downtown and have the county-related stuff all in the same area, but it's still an option. The prosecutor's not here. I think that's something that we need to look at, trying to move him possibly so we can get the assessor over here. And then we need to look at what we're gonna plan on doing with the old jail. It's kind of the big ape in the room too right now. Because if we don't do anything with it, it's sitting there wasted space. Who else we got here?
Health,
Um,
courts. Oh, here?
Courts.
I just sent them a text.
Who's that? Courts?
Courts.
Oh, yeah, they want another courtroom. I think we gave them a bigger one, we'd be able to take over one of their smaller courtrooms. They'd still have 4 courtrooms.
To get another jail, they have to have 5 court, they have to have office. OSCA will not provide them with another judge without them having chambers and a courtroom.
So it can do change of venue and go to Boone County or Miller County or Osage.
Well, from all the responses that I read from Larry and Steve and Ralph and Chris, everybody wanted more space, but I don't necessarily think that we need that much more space. We just need to be able to use our space a little bit better. We don't need several break rooms all over the place. We don't need multiple conference rooms, in each office holder. I mean, those conference rooms don't get used all that much, and you may have to schedule to use it, but I just feel like we've got a lot of space, but we've got a lot of duplication, and if we could better organize some of that stuff, then probably the space that we have now would be better utilized. And so, that, as I look at all these challenges, besides what to do with the old jail, I still think that there's merit at moving all non-court related offices to another site. And I think it allows us to do the things that I talked about as far as, getting those offices close together, allows us to combine break rooms, conference rooms to be used amongst all offices. And it would give us more space, and it would address some parking issues as well. But I mean, I'm not really wanting to, I'm not gonna pick just health and move health. I mean, I don't think that's feasible. I don't think it's very economical. I mean, cause they might need 13,000 square feet. They got 8, but it's just another building, so.
I had Judge Beadham in Saturday, and of course, his idea was, he said, move us off the second floor and Steve off the second floor and make this the fifth courtroom, and then move us over to the Carnegie building, and we could be over there. And I said, I don't think there's enough space. He said, oh, I can show you. I don't know how that would work. Then I had Judge Green in, and he's talking the jail, and he says we just need to go back to the people and say that it needs to be a justice center as opposed to just a jail.
That doesn't stop the court decisions that have already been rendered saying that you can no longer do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying this is what Judge Green had said. So I think they're, to a certain extent, they're looking. They're really looking for the fifth courtroom is what they're looking at. And
I got any money?
No.
That's what I thought.
When you say non-court offices, you're talking about the health, treasurer, auditor, commission, clerk, IS, recorder, assessor, public administrator. Would you consider them courts, or would you consider them?
I would consider public administrator courts, but
Okay.
that's just my opinion. I think
Public
you hit 'em all.
defenders, obviously, would be courts.
Courts, yeah.
Prosecuting attorney, you consider them
Courts.
courts. Okay.
Clerk of the court.
Circuit, yeah.
are you thinking of building a new building, or?
Well, I think, you know, we obviously have looked at the old St. Mary's
Yeah.
MOB. I mean, there's no secret that we have looked at it. I think there's still opportunities there. So, but we have to decide. That solves a lot of the issues that I see, or that I could put on a long-range plan. I mean, it solves health, it solves Carnegie, it solves the courts issue, because you would have the whole second floor, this whole second floor for the courts.
First.
Well, I mean, public defender might have to take part of the first, but
And I'm assuming nothing juvenile would stay, public works would stay.
right. Yeah, it doesn't solve any of the maintenance issues at Pringer, or the planning and the wash bay and moving the fuel tanks and stuff out of public works, but it,
We never did get a price on.
we haven't negotiated anything yet. We just need to be together on what we want to do, and you know, I never got the feeling that we were together on that plan, so.
What, on moving off of campus?
Yes.
I don't think it's a good idea. You know, a lot of stuff that even not court related that just happens up here. Marriage licenses, one of the last things I want to talk about, but that's.
Well, all I keep saying is, you move Larry Vincent out of where he is, and boy, in December, when you get the people coming to pay their taxes, you can publicize it all you want, you can have signs, you can still, people are going to be mad, because they're used to paying their taxes here in the annex. So
Well, but as our new computer system comes online, we're gonna have the ability to take online payments, I think.
Oh, he
We're
does
already taking
now.
off.
Are you? So, I
And
mean,
there's still a lot of people who like to walk in.
well, and that's fine. I
and they
mean,
want that receipt.
you're always gonna have that issue, especially the first year, but.
They'll
I
get
mean,
over it,
Yeah.
maybe, some of them might not, but.
Yeah.
Chris, let me comment on some of that. This building, the first and second floors that I've become familiar with, I would suggest it's functioning very well and very efficiently. If we did have to move, we'd probably end up, like my office would have to probably end up with more space than I already have, the collector, my guess is we'd end up with more space than what we have now. On the other hand, I think we're making very good use of the space we have. And the recorder's office has enough space, for the next 20 years. I think we can make that work for 20 years with the space. And I suspect, and you're like up here, this is laid out very well, it functions well. If you move this second floor, you're going to end up getting in more space than what you're using here, and it won't function any better, I think. And as far as I can speak for the collector and the recorder's offices, my office is down there, and I open my window, and I out there on the sidewalk, and I've watched people for 8 weeks now. People walking in and out all day long, visiting the recorder's office or the collector's office, and I see, and people are able to, people can park easily also, I've noticed. It's easy to get, to park very close by and get in, get their business done and get out. Plus, we get a lot of pedestrians from downtown. I get a lot of stuff from the banks and the Cole County and stuff. A lot of pedestrian traffic in there. So where I'm at, where the recorder is at, works really, really good. The location, downtown, close to the banks, easily available to everybody, either from vehicular, by cars, can park there and get in and out. Pedestrians can get there easily, walk in and do their business and get it out. And we can make it work for quite a while. Also, remind you that the recorder's office, I think it was I forget, Debbie Nash was in the courthouse before the recorder's office was moved over. But some of those rooms over there in the recorder's office were turned into vaults. In fact, it was an addition, I think. And created vault space to make it fireproof. And that space is adequate. We can still grow and have storage there for a while longer. And I think within the 20 years, the way we're set up there. So I guess in summary, I'm very happy with the way the recorder's office is set up now and the location. I think we're very accessible to the public. And very happy with what's going on where we are.
I don't think before we had a problem with where your office was at or the size of it. I think our intention was try to get the collector and assessor closer together rather than having to walk over there to a different building, and that's why we was trying to get out of the Carnegie building, so.
With the Carnegie building, what would happen with that if
If we can give it away, we'll give it
The
away.
library is very interested in it.
Somebody with
Yeah,
the store.
Claudia Schoonover's the,
And the library doesn't want to move?
at one time I sat in on a focus group back when Pee Wee and Bob Jones, the library wanted to leave downtown. They wanted us to buy that building, and I forget how many million it was. I mean, they have a value on it that was, and this is a long time ago. But no, I think they're happy. They're renting space across the street from for offices and that parking, and they'd like to get out of that. But Claudia would like to maybe put their offices, do maybe bring back the auditorium where they could do plays, maybe put the children's library back in there. So they are very interested in it.
Well, I've come to recognize what's been obvious. Well, I tell you what, if the library wanted to move, that would sure solve the county space problems and keep everything,
It
close
does
and
keep
accessible.
everything here, I mean, I'm not saying I don't like downtown. I'm not saying that it doesn't work well downtown. I'm just saying that we're trying to live within a small box, and at some point, you can't do it. I mean, it's like your family keeps growing, and at some point, your house just isn't big enough, because you're bursting at the seams, or you got all this clutter and all this stuff, and basically that's what we are. It's one big family that has lots of stuff and lots of people, and at some point, we're gonna keep growing, and we're just, where are we gonna go?
Well, it's definitely, I certainly agree this is a good time to look at that 20-year plan and grow in such a way that's been well thought out. And I certainly compliment the commission on looking at this now and trying to do that in an orderly fashion. And
Well,
having thought it out very well.
I think it allows future commissions to know what the plan was too, and so, not to just, it seems like we tackle one thing at a time, and we don't look at things globally, and a lot of times when you do that, it's like, well, you do this, and now you end up tearing that down and doing something else, and so you're ending up wasting dollars, rather than looking at the big picture and seeing where you want to be.
On the old sheriff's residence in the jail, I have not, with all the talk and conversation of that place, somehow I've never gotten in there to look at it. The most significant, that was, it's on the National Register. It was placed on the National Register, one of the first buildings in the county placed on the register back in the 1960s. The most important piece of that is the residence and the streetscape. Behind it is the jail. If you took that footprint, the jail behind the residence, would that give you anything? The building site, if you took the jail off of the residence and used that for new construction, would that give you anything?
That was all about the plans that we already had, right?
Pretty much. It didn't give us enough space.
Give you the square footage
Yeah.
to accomplish
I mean,
everything.
it really didn't give us enough square footage to add a fifth courtroom and get out of the Carnegie building and have room for future expansion. There just wasn't enough room there. And of course, that was $2 million too.
Plus.
Yeah. So,
I wonder if the library realizes what the maintenance and upkeep would be on the Carnegie building.
They had it before us.
I think yeah,
They went through it.
yeah, they went through it. No, we won't.
Steve said that.
We won't, no,
Steve Korsma.
no,
Steve,
No.
Forsmar, 634.
no, we will never tear down the Carnegie Library. No,
In the middle of the night when nobody's around.
no,
No, there's history over there.
No.
Not so much at that old
Well,
sheriff's building.
there's definitely history over there, and the Carnegie building is built so well with such fine materials that I wonder if the state would be interested.
I was impressed when I really with your office that it really is some pretty workmanship in that.
Very much so.
Yeah,
There's been a lot done away with, but there's still a
Yeah.
lot of good there.
yeah.
I would invite everyone on the 29th of this month to the annual meeting of the Historic City of Jefferson.
Is that the dinner?
Could you lend Steve of that?
And helmet.
No, the Carnegie, I won't let anything happen to it. I'm sorry, I won't.
I have such good memories of a child being in that library.
Yeah.
And Simonson, I'd walk up and spend time. It's a good place.
But see, I'm kind of like Ralph. When I look at that, the sheriff's house is what you see. The jail itself, when I drive around that, there's nothing there. It's just an ugly.
The jail itself.
The jail itself.
It's not architecturally significant.
And I don't know if you could do an L-shaped and come back around and build like a second floor, and you do that with the courtroom. New construction is,
Not for what they're needing a big courtroom for. That's all we had to go with it that tall. And it would still have the look of what the sheriff's house has in it.
well, I'm saying leave the sheriff's house. I don't, I'm talking the jail and then coming back east and then coming around to kind of an L-shaped addition
Backside.
on the backside.
Then you're gonna be wrapping around the jail. You're gonna
No,
be-
tear down the jail.
I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the courthouse.
Yeah.
From a
It's gotta
security
be-
standpoint, we don't want public access with cars underneath a government building. You don't want to build out over a parking lot,
Okay.
unless you're going to absolutely contain that lot where no one can get into it except staff.
Okay.
It ain't like they can't park right between here and blow the whole thing up.
Yeah, it takes
So-
pretty significant. but, Jeff, can you help me out on remembering here? There was one discussion at one point. If they did the deal where the one floor in the, basically they lower the one floor.
So save the
So you've
shell.
got, yeah,
Skeleton.
saving the shell, you've got 2 usable floors for office space. Plus you got the detention area under it. And if you did that with the retention of the Carnegie building, and if you did, 'cause I still remember when you go into the library, what the big reading room was like. That would be the most spectacular commission chambers you could ever imagine. And using this side for court, at that point, wasn't there enough room if we did that to make it all work?
You can't get another big courtroom in there though.
No, it would have to be a smaller one, and that would be like using this one.
So it kind of eliminates even why put another courtroom over there.
And the only way to make the current one bigger is to restore the second story gallery to it.
Is to knock it all down, and because then you can bring your entry in and you don't have the stairs going down the middle of the building. I mean, we could put plenty of office space over there. So we could, and we talked about moving the prosecutor over there, which he doesn't want to move the way it sounds.
I recognize that you all get to decide where we live.
So,
I don't think you're moving.
well, it's still trying to work.
No, we're gonna move somebody
If
in.
you all want to go to jail, let me know.
We'll move somebody in.
Well, if we leave the sheriff's house, it's just gonna be more chopped up stuff, and it's not the best use, and it's gonna cost more per foot to do it that way, to remodel it. So, that's why the thought of knocking it all down and coming up, then we can have a handicap access. It'd all be in one area. We would level the floors all up. That was another one of the things that was the problem with keeping that old jail. You got the floors doing this.
Or that split level that I remember the one view that you went in and you had the chair lift, half a floor down, half a floor up, or the stairs that went off
Yeah.
of it.
I still think that's the best bet in the future, and if they're gonna need another courtroom, is to do that.
Take it all the way down the ground, start with.
Take it down to the Sally Port and go on top of the Sally Port. And in the future, that may be something to look at too, is to rebuild the Sally Port or do something different with that, but it's already built, so I'd go on top of it. It'll hold it structurally.
Put piers and stuff in there too.
Only if you went up to the third floor.
If you added a third floor, that's what made it too expensive to.
That one, I keep thinking back to that one plan where you use all the existing floors in there and still use the sheriff's house for the handicap accessible entry with security screening. That would look like a fairly reasonable plan.
Sorry, I was just looking at pictures of the Carnegie building that we took like a few years ago.
For the backside.
How many square feet is there all in one floor? Anyone have that? Yeah, like
I
one
don't
floor, how many-
remember. You mean of the jail itself, not
No,
the
the
Carnegie building.
Carnegie building?
Yeah.
3,400 on the
3,500.
That sounds good.
32, 34, something like
Of course, that doesn't include,
that. That includes the back half.
that doesn't include hall space though, does it?
That's everything.
I'm going to go over on the 9th, Ralph, and tour the public defender's offices at 8 o'clock if you want to come over with me. They invited me to come over, and I'm to me, it's kind of neat to go back through that building, because I was like Greg, I was, you know, I had a lot of fond memories going downstairs to the children's library. Yeah.
Upstairs and downstairs, depending on the year.
Yeah. So on the 9th at 8, if you want, I can come over and swing over and
On the
pick you
9th?
up. Yeah,
Okay. And then 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
My wife's birthday.
Monday.
There you go, we purchased the training building in 1977. Just in case, oh, there's a check we wrote.
40 grand.
Yeah, I'm just
I mean, going back to the
kind of a
needs
little
with the offices, Chris kinda indicated the assessor's office would need some more room at some point.
Yeah, that was a
Let
real-
me get back to here. So when we start planning for more space,
Yeah, we paid 40,000, but we spent 600,000 to remodel.
auditor said they have enough, should be fine. Assessor could use some increased space. Collector space is adequate, but could be better utilized. Public administrator, she wants to double her space. And, well, she said in 5 to 20 years, but recorders is adequate.
What I thought was interesting, out of all of these, there was 4 of them that talked about parking. So I thought that was interesting.
Now, it depends, if you're gonna let them park at the front door, if you gotta just park them down a block or two.
We-
Well, that's
As a
one-
county, we don't own any parking hardly.
That's one thing that we haven't even talked about is we spend an enormous amount of money on parking. Every year, leased spaces and whatnot, and so, I mean, that could be going to building maintenance or other things if we just had more parking.
I know at one time when they were trying to negotiate with Betty Bisher on buying all of her property, Mark had talked about some properties on Capitol Avenue that would have to be demolished just because they're not, and that even though you're going to have to walk a half a block or walk a block, potentially it could be good parking. And even again for juries, at least it's level. They're not walking up the hill. That's what's. See, I keep looking at that lot, which I think the city has, going down Adams on the other side below the Baptist building, where all of the bail bondsmen have their trailers parked out there with all their signage. And I keep thinking, I know that's a city lot, but boy, it's close to the jail. It'd be closer even for juries. You're only going to have to walk half a block up the hill, and again, that could be good parking for us. So I don't know. I'm just looking at all the land that's around us that potentially we could use.
I think the commission has approached the city several times about different lots, and the city's not gonna sell us any of their land. And that's just my opinion. Maybe you guys can convince them. We tried to get this little lot back here behind the jail, and they weren't gonna let go of that. They weren't gonna give that to us. It's a revenue source for them, obviously. So,
Well, and I'll tell you, I wish the city was not renting to the bondsman, because as soon as somebody puts one of those up, we get complaints that we're allowing them to do it, even though they're renting from the city.
yeah,
We get no say.
yeah.
What about the old AMP building on there? Is it for sale, or-
That's News Tribune
Library?
has it.
Well, it's an old Weldon.
Yeah, it's a Weldon. Yeah.
They don't want to sell it anymore?
Yeah, I contacted the Weldons and talked to them about numerous properties that were close. And they're not willing to sell anything yet.
And the old gas station across from that down there on the corner? Is that being used for anything?
Dawson building there.
Oh, yeah, I looked at that as well, and it's, I mean, you could buy the corner, but you'd have to basically demolish the whole building. I mean, it's actually a parking garage almost, I think it's.
Yeah, down the
it is.
basement.
Yeah.
That's going to be a hidden spaces tour.
It
The old gas
It's on the
station,
corner of
gas
Adams
parking
and
garage,
it was
yeah.
Heisinger Motors, and it was back in 1920.
Where the movers are.
Yeah, where the movers were. It was a Ford dealership.
Is that, do the Azels still own that, Bob Azel, or is that?
No, he sold it to no Weaver and
No, I don't Dawson does.
there's two. No, huh? Yeah.
Weaver that was the police officer?
Rochelle, his wife's my sales rep for Cumulus Radio. I'm not sure what her husband. No, I don't think. But they're. I think there's a couple partners in it, and
There are two partners.
yeah, and it's kind of a neat building.
It is. In fact, I've talked to them about that building not too long ago myself.
Well, I'm kind of like Jeff. I really like to keep everything in the heart of Jefferson City. But I know where Chris is coming from too, and that it actually makes more sense. But people are used to coming down.
I think we see a lot of public blowback. I mean, when they talked about moving the jail out of the downtown
Yeah.
area, I mean, there was a firestorm, basically. So if you start talking about moving basic functions of county government, I think you're gonna really upset the public. That's just one point to consider.
Yeah,
The one thing that keeps the downtown stable in county government are the courts. And the location of the courts, because there's so many attorneys on both sides of it, plus the prosecution and defense counsel over here. That action is the heaviest public usage of the downtown area of the county government, except when they pay their taxes.
Except
That's
for
a-
what, we can't expand out, so we have to go up. So can we put another floor on this building?
no, we added.
This is at City National.
Yeah, we added.
Well, you already added one, you can't add.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to have an architect. to
Have you
decide that.
seen Mark Richardson's offices? It really is.
It's really nice.
It really is nice. That was, I think, Rich Callahan designed that, or it's pretty.
Very nice.
Actually, under that one plan, if it would have materialized, that would have actually been better space over the new structure, though. When you all had the design for with the extra floor on top, and the proximity would have been great for them, less distance to travel.
I mean, to Chris's point, are we gonna get some blowback for moving out of downtown? Well, sure we are. But, when we voted to tear down the jail and the sheriff's house, when we were moving forward with that plan, yeah, we got some stink about that too. But, people, even though you may have a room full of people that are against you doing something, that doesn't mean that there aren't 100,000 people out there or 50,000 people out there in the county that are like, well, yeah, that makes sense. So, doing the easy thing is easy. Sometimes doing the right thing is hard. But I don't know. I mean, we can talk about this for the next 6 months, or we can make a decision to do something. So, and if you guys don't like my plan, I'm open to listening to something else. But I've yet to hear anything that doesn't cost $3.5–4 million, and it still doesn't accomplish everything that we want to accomplish. So,
Well, I think St. Mary's, by the time it's all said and done, it'd be.
yeah, we don't know that till we go there, though.
Yeah.
So,
And none of the discussion that we've had about the plant down here affects the health department at all.
No, St. Mary's would be ideal for the health department.
Well, what building are you talking about, the red brick building?
The medical office building, which is their newest building.
But it's 2014.
It's going to need a lot of. You went up and looked at the.
I wouldn't say it's going to need a lot. I mean, it's a solid building. I mean, I don't know
you know, you looked at the HVAC units and thought that those would need some assistance, but I mean,
Replacement,
yeah, what else?
Are the walls, are the interior walls movable? I mean,
Yeah,
is it-
yeah, it's all post and truss construction. I mean, you could gut the whole thing, but the thing that makes it good is that the whole first floor, if you put the health department in there, it's ready to go. I mean, it is set up for, you know, a
It's designed for
hospital
that purpose,
or a health
right.
department or whatever. I mean, it's gonna take very little to get it workable for them.
And then actually, even on the second floor, there was a nice room that would actually be perfect for our chamber, for the commission chamber.
Not only that, but there was a lot of file storage in some of those, and
How
so
many elevators does it have?
that's two.
You can almost get lost in it right now. It's
Oh, the top floors are pretty choppy because of what they were used for,
yeah.
but that doesn't mean that that's not a usable thing anyway.
Right.
How many people does the health department, I'm not talking about employees, but how many walk-in people do they have in a day?
Huge. I mean, I've gone there fairly frequently, and there's times I've seen their waiting room just packed out. And there's always people coming, you know, the WIC program.
With WIC, yeah, I want to say Christie said there's somewhere around 6,000 people a month they
I don't know,
take
it
care
seems
of.
like a lot. Could be.
They give vaccines, you know, the breastfeeding program, WIC program.
They bring in a dentist and sets up this portable dentist chair in I got our closet at home's bigger than that room they set that up in.
Well, I'm only
Yeah.
asking that because, you know, it sounds to me like if the county were to go over there, we're the four of us, we're gonna end up somewhere on one of the upper floors.
Mhm.
Chris and I have a tremendous amount of foot traffic every day. Most people, after tax season's over, if they come to us to pay a tax bill, it's probably because they don't have a tax bill and they gotta go to Chris first. That's why we need to be together. That's the only thing that sounds appealing to me about moving, is that we can be in close proximity instead of people having to walk in the snow and rain and slush, you know, over the Carnegie building and then back. And that's also why I asked about the two elevators. With that amount of traffic, I'm concerned about, you know, when you have a large number of people, that it's gonna be.
It has like
all the time.
there's a double layer of parking. So if you come in on the first, you're covered, it's covered parking. And so then the average person would be coming in on the second floor.
Right.
Yeah, and they're.
That's the main level.
Yeah, the main level, and there's a lot of parking there too. So
I'm more concerned about the
you could
parking.
be,
That's the worry.
well, but I mean, but you could still be on the first.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's two elevators and there's a main stairwell that, you know, there's a door there, but that could be opened up and could be an open stairwell that, I don't know if that's possible, if that breaks the fire code or whatnot, if that has to be enclosed. But, so there's a stairwell right there too. So as you come in, there's two elevators and a stairwell. So, you know, I mean, people didn't want to wait for the elevator. So, I mean, that's definitely a good point.
But you don't even know how much they want for those, nobody's ever approached them.
No, I mean, we've talked to them and, you know,
It's not
I
very.
bet tomorrow the price is gonna go up, so this is in the paper.
Just better call them
Just
today.
don't put anything in there about me tearing down the parking. I don't care what else you want.
I don't think it's gonna go up any more than it was.
Yeah.
Because they know if we've expressed
yeah,
interest in
we've
it.
expressed interest. I mean,
They'd like to get rid of it because they don't have to knock it down then.
Well, because that's what they're saying is if
So.
it's not sold by June or July, they're going to bulldoze everything. And
And you know,
well, you have to maintain it. You have to have security there. You have to have
That thing is so old, it
it's
probably doesn't.
it's got so many additions. It's got so many additions.
Can't even get in there.
If they're gonna use it's taxable too.
I just look at
They
the,
don't want that.
I look
Yeah.
at the square footage of parking structures that are there and what the cost of parking structures are compared to everything else is just huge. I hate losing those.
I don't know if they would tear those down.
Maybe it'd be worth getting just
I think the one main parking structure they said would be savable, but
Yeah.
the whole hospital, old building, that would probably go. But, you know, then it's still just a piece of land that you still have to sell.
Right.
And so
It's
there's,
usable land at that point, though. Right now, it's,
right, but it's still a pretty big bluff off one side and, you know, it's on
MoDOT
a
should
big
take it
rock.
and fix a tri-level.
They don't have any money for
I
that.
knew the guy that designed that thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was killed with a bomb in Florida. Seriously.
I don't know, I'm just still along the lines of the old jail being the best use, best able to adapt to future needs to grow. There's not a whole lot of room, but it meets the needs of what we want to do and where we want to go. We can't do it right now because of the cost. But I still think that's the best option and probably the direction we need to head. But if you want to still look at St. Mary's, I'm not going to shoot that down and say, no, don't even look at it. I'd say continue to look at it, and if we get some kind of great deal, but I still think it needs to be downtown in this area.
Is there still any possibility of looking at St. Mary's just for health department and still doing some type of working relationship with Lynn and with Missouri State Technical School?
I think if a private enterprise took it over and leased it out, we'd be better off letting somebody else private do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not so sure that there's not private enterprises looking at it. So,
It's just that the only people that have money that are willing to come to the table is us.
Other than the governor withholding money that he
Yes.
promised.
I mean, Lincoln hasn't stepped forward and said, yes, we're interested and we've got money. State Technical College is, I think everybody's interested, but nobody has any money to go with that unless the state appropriates it or whatnot, so.
Yeah.
Have we talked to Senator Keogh and our representatives?
We
to
have.
See if there's no, they don't think there's gonna be any movement on that, or?
That was the gist that I got, just point blank, and I won't say who told me, but I asked, and they said that it probably wasn't going to happen. But, I mean, there still is some hope through the legislative session that maybe something will come about. But anyway.
That it won't happen, period, or that the governor won't release the money?
They had indicated that they just didn't think that would go through the process, or that anybody would push for it, but.
Do we know how much parking there would be available over the St. Mary's Professional Building?
Oh. What was that number, Chris?
I want to say 120
There,
spaces.
you've
maybe?
got 2 levels, and then there's actually
Does that sound right?
a lower surface lot that,
And then there was actually another lot there that
Yeah.
could have been an option that might have gotten us another 30 spaces or so.
120, 150.
It's fairly good.
That way you can use it for employees and customers.
Right.
Chris, I'm not averse to your idea there. It has a lot of merit. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
Sure.
To,
Yeah. No,
we don't get people in here screaming at you every day.
Yeah. Oh, I
You know
understand.
how that goes.
You probably know better than
But
me.
we have to make the hard decisions, exactly.
Right, so,
Sometimes you have to do it every day.
no, I'm not saying my idea is the best or the greatest. I'm just looking for ideas
I think it
to
has some merit.
vet and to try to come up with a plan, but it,
Even if you added on to the jail, the and that wouldn't alleviate any space problems like we're having in our office, though. That wouldn't solve any of our problems, like having people load out in the hallway, and we don't have any handicap accessible counter. and-
You know, a lot of the space, and of course, you know, hallways are needed, but when you look at these great big hallways, you know, on the first and second floor, and I realize, you know, at certain times, those are full, but for the most part, you know, it's wasted space. You know, you gotta have some public restrooms and some other things like that, and, you know, a decent sized lobby for certain activities, but,
ADA accessible.
mhm. But, yeah, there's a pretty good chunk of hallway there that, you know, doesn't really serve a whole lot of purpose.
Loading room.
Yeah. So,
And even if you did move that off campus, you'd still have to look at, the old jail would have just sat there, or, you know, we'd still have to invest money in the courthouse, in the annex, still our buildings. You could get out of the Carnegie, you could get out of the health department building, but then you've also absorbed a huger building out there than maybe either one of those two buildings are. So,
Then you've got to remodel this for the courtroom.
yeah, whatever you, I mean, you
Um,
won't get out of the windows here, you know, that kind of stuff, so. It all has to play into it, I guess.
It's expensive, anyway you do it.
Yeah.
If you just did the footprint that's over there now, the old jail, would that provide, I mean, enough space to move commission chambers? Let's say the recorder.
If we did the 4 floors, we got a lot of room.
Well, I know if you do all 4 floors, I'm just, if you don't go to that large of expense though,
but
and still make this second floor a court chambers.
it all depends on whether we leave the sheriff's house or not, because the plan that we had was removing the sheriff's house, actually taking out a big portion towards,
The
Yeah.
sidewalk,
Yeah.
almost down to the
Now, the
sidewalk.
Sally Port was first floor.
Excuse me.
Right.
Over
right, but we were actually gonna take the sheriff's house out and then go
Right.
down and then make some more space
And 3 floors.
on that
above
on that lower floor, on the basement floor.
Where that tank is out there.
Yeah, and then
Can't see it.
3 floors above it.
Can you still take it out and blame it on Mark since he's gone?
Well, we've already voted that, so.
Yeah. Put it on hold.
We haven't repealed that,
You can't afford 2 floors, and for 2 floors, moving up offices out of Carnegie in this building to move the assessor over here and give the commission, the recorder, and possibly the clerk.
Problem is you have the stairwell going right in the middle of the old jail and the other side. So over on this side of it, there's no room over there. I can't find my drawing of it, but
You mean it won't work without tearing down the old house?
you
They could
could,
do
but
it,
it's
but
just
you
not gonna make
gain
sense to do
much.
that.
the problem is that, you know, the egress,
Disagree on that, but
the egress issues and the stairwell that, I mean, it's just massive and how much room it takes up to access and be able to get people in and out of those floors and then more bathrooms and, you know, if it was just office space, it'd be fine, but, you know, we got issues over there with restrooms and things now, so. I mean, a lot of what you're saying, it takes care of some small things, but it, you know, it doesn't.
So, courtroom.
Health department is not answered, that question about them, you know.
I mean, I'm okay with taking a look at doing that, or,
well, I'm just throwing things
no,
out.
I mean, that's. When we don't have to decide anything today.
Well, I don't
mean,
think
I'd be-
I don't,
I'd be glad to.
I wasn't planning on
throw
deciding
my,
today.
What?
No.
Take a vote.
Not after one meeting.
I like being downtown,
Well,
I'd
yeah,
like to stay
that's-
downtown if I could, but.
Cost is enormous, I mean.
I like the atmosphere and being able to
beams
walk
and
through
everything, I
town.
have to go back.
Yeah.
You know, over there, you'd have to drive anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
Or you could just walk down to the restaurant or to the bathroom.
I've been downtown for 40 years, so I'm kind of partial to it too. And I understand what Chris is saying. You know, logically, having a building like that where you can do it all, it really is the most efficient way to look at a long-range plan. You know, being downtown for 40 years, I don't want to see us leave downtown. And
I like being down.
can we move public defenders over into?
You can move the only one, this is with the research that Jill and Mark did, the legal research, the only thing that you can move over, affirmed by the court, is the prosecutor's office.
Give me in your building?
We can move the clerk over there, you just gotta pay you rent.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, maybe not.
I'm not crazy about that, there's ways to be,
We've got that
Creative.
one, we've got without destroying future expansion. And if you use the shell space in the interstitial floor, just remember that has to have 3 inches of steel reinforced concrete over the entirety of it. Then the other issue is that the front shell space has its own independent entrance and is the usable area. If you were to do something with it. And we didn't talk about other things, but somewhere in the closer future, the generator that's housed in the detention area is going to have to be replaced if you want backup power for the phone system in this building and other things.
The generator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even function as far as Dale's concerned.
So did you ever get a cost of moving the prosecuting attorney over there? What would it cost to move him over?
It'd be a terrible location for anybody because the only outside light you're going to have is the front door coming in. It's going to be living in Carlsbad Cavern.
Be great for your voting machines, though.
Yeah.
I'll take Marla over here. You can tell her that.
Okay.
She's-
Bring her
yeah,
over.
There's no restrooms, there's no heat, there's no,
You need restrooms for voting machines?
when the people.
We can get a
come,
Johnny
you have
down
to
there.
have,
They do
Okay.
the training.
Oh,
you have to
okay.
test them all the time.
We can get a Johnny in there.
Porta potties. That was my idea for the courthouse with all these blue porta potties.
Yeah, I think they already went through that. Disgusting.
There's no easy solution to any of these problems.
Never
And
is.
you're never gonna make everybody happy, that's for sure.
You could put a disco ball in the middle of it, bounce lasers off of it.
So, I guess the easiest thing is maybe for all of us to maybe jot some notes, maybe put some stuff down in writing, and then maybe circulate that and include you all if you've got any ideas to bounce back at us. I mean, like I said, I'm not dead set on moving to St. Mary's, but I'm just looking for some solution that might accomplish several of the items that we have here. Because, if we tackle them individually, it's gonna cost a whole lot more than to tackle several of them together. And so, yeah, is it a big building? Yeah. But I think the price will be right. Because what were we gonna get if we did 4 floors of the jail, or 3 floors, plus that little, it was like what, 12,000 square feet?
Yeah, we weren't getting very much.
It was about 4,000 square feet of floor, 12,000 square feet. St. Mary's gets us 40,000. So there's 13,000 square feet of floor.
Well, I'm sure you can probably get it at a decent price. The thing that would concern me going forward though is that upkeep cost. That's
Right, but if
gonna
you,
be a big job.
if you get out of Carnegie and you get out of health, you've eliminated 2 buildings that you've got one that's a little bigger, but at the same time, you've increased your space. Of course, the upkeep costs on these older buildings are catching up to us too, so. I hear what you're saying. I mean, every time you go to a bigger building, it's gonna cost you more. But Carnegie Building is very inefficient, as we found out with that energy study through Amoresco.
Yeah, I thought it's more efficient.
This building, this annex is the worst,
This annex is the worst.
which has surprised me.
Why don't we just take over the News Tribune? It's just across the street there.
Oh, well,
Probably.
I know,
Those windows, the
Yeah, I know.
well, yeah, them guys compared to over here, it's a mess.
Um, and Library's still not,
they're not moving.
No.
They're already replacing.
They don't have the money.
but if they got a free building or close to free building that had all the parking they needed and all the floors they need. The St. Mary's office building gives them a tremendous amount of parking for patrons and
I think they needed that bond
Space.
issue to pass for them to be able to do anything. You know, a few years ago when they had that.
well, I understand that, but again, if prices were right, the county purchased their building from them.
I see.
Then give them the money to go and remodel that building, do whatever needs to be done.
I certainly think that's the best possible scenario, most favorable.
To do what?
Buy the library,
Where are they going?
St. Mary's,
I don't-
so we could buy that one and trade.
That was Steve's idea.
I don't.
Watching Howard have I can't stand to. That's what I'm doing. I can't take two.
No, just tell them it's Ralph's idea.
Oh, okay.
Can't we just evict them or something?
Ralph's idea.
Victim.
Now,
Okay.
I will.
Hey, go ahead and bring up the idea, maybe we'll condemn the building, Steve. Wanna
That's
have some
what I'm
fun.
going to do now. The library.
I know I'm probably one of the older ones here, but now we did look at that library when we talked about the jail.
You say you're one of the older ones here?
Yeah, sorry. Been at the county longer,
Oh,
put it that
I
way.
No seniority.
And we did look at that library, and there
All right,
was,
Mom.
architecturally, there was a lot of issues with that being used for anything else than what it was built for. Yeah. So it would probably be a to the ground and start over kind of thing. I would, that's the problem we had. It was,
Was what?
that library architecturally, remember when we looked at it? I don't know if you were here, and Bob Jones, and as far as.
Oh, I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
using
What was the
that.
problem?
That there wasn't, basically that building wouldn't be accommodating to anything else but a library. That if you
Well-
wanted to use it, you could use the floor plan, the land itself.
Well, you could use it for office space. I mean, it would be great office space. It'd make it great, you could do a courtroom in it, but it's so far away from the courthouse that it doesn't make sense for
Well,
that.
and then I didn't think you could add a floor to it at all or anything.
My understanding was we couldn't add to it.
Yeah.
But you've got a huge basement, and then you've got the, what is it, 2 floors or 3 floors?
Two.
Two.
Floors?
Yeah.
But those are pretty good sized, that's a pretty good sized footprint.
It would accommodate all the offices that we're talking about here and in the Carnegie building, for sure.
Well, you're
No, I don't
talking
think so.
about first floor, half of
The
the
library?
second floor of here.
No, that
You're
won't
talking
hold all
about you
this in
three
Carnegie.
I don't think
Plus
so.
Chris.
Uh-uh.
Well, with probably the exception of the prosecutor, I mean, or is that what you're
Maybe
thinking?
not, yeah, of course, you're gonna leave this for
Right.
the courts, so
Right.
you don't have to do that.
If you were talking the 3 of them and Chris, it would do that, I bet. Public defender would
You
have to be
got
somewhere
a
else.
stairwell in there in that corner.
Yeah, but
And the
other than that,
elevator.
it's 2 pretty big
Yeah.
open rooms.
Yeah, it's huge.
bathrooms.
I don't,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think that'd be an issue at all.
You could probably move the commission over there. And, there's a point where interacting between the rest of county government and the court is a hard issue. Clientele and everything else.
Well, besides Larry and Chris needing to be able to interact together, and, I think the clerk and the commission and the auditor and the treasurer, I mean, there's some core offices that really need to be in close proximity to each other to be able to work a little bit better and
We
more
need
efficient.
Purchasing. right?
Purchasing, so,
I think it's actually in the statute, I'm supposed to be only so many feet from your office.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's something real like 200 feet.
200?
I think
That's
it's
a
something
long
like
ways.
I know, you can get rid of me if you want. It's really, I mean, there is something in the statute about you're supposed to be on top.
Oh, I'm
of
sure, yeah.
research,
Well, it only makes sense.
Yeah,
So.
I don't know if the rest of them read that way or not. but- Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Presiding Commissioner, what do you want to do?
Punt. Punt.
Wait 4 years?
No,
We're gonna have a limited
no.
time limit. An hour and a half is enough time to kick this around. We'll meet again in 1 month. See if we have any new ideas. That's a great idea, Judge.
If you do that, somebody ought to get a hold of them and see how much the building's gonna be. So you have to know at least what it's gonna be.
Yeah, because that could make a big decision as to whether we want to try to.
Or they'll give it to you.
Give it to you and take
I
tax
don't
deduction.
think-
Terrible taxes.
Give it to
It's a
us.
terrible organization.
Give it to us.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they're gonna spend millions to tear that complex down.
What, St. Mary's?
Yes.
3 million.
I don't care if they give it to us. It ain't gonna be worth it.
I
That's
just want to
what
see
I-
the headline that says
How
that
about
somebody
the
besides
library?
me recommends condemning the library.
Well, we haven't even talked to the library. That's just something thrown out there. Well, remember back when we talked about tearing down the Baptist building and putting a jail there?
Went down fast.
The reason, by the way, the reason that would have worked as a law enforcement center is you had the jail on the south of the alley and you had the rest of it north of the alley in that design plan.
Well, and it was a court facility. It wasn't just a jail.
Right,
when
no, it was a
taken down.
justice facility.
Justice facility.
Right, but
That
the-
would have helped everything.
Mhm.
The segregation was literally the alley.
Yeah. And that would have really solved it all, as far as the courts go. But the people voted it down, so that's it.
Yeah.
That was
We'll meet
it.
again in 1 month, and we can hash it around some more.
You don't have all day?
No, I got a meeting at 4 o'clock. You can come along to it. It's a follow-up meeting for the home show. It's up at the winery, so it'll be a good meeting.
Yeah. It's all
Me
right.
taste society.
But we got everybody kind of thinking anyway, so, which is good.
I just still
Um,
back to
There are a
the.
couple things I'm gonna be following up on between now and next time we get together.
I still look, every time I go by the jail, there's really nothing, the jail part, there really isn't anything historic or redeeming about the jail. And,
You get in the old building, the old sheriff's house,
no,
go through it. There's nothing redeeming about it.
either.
Nope,
It's really neat on the outside, but on the inside,
there's nothing historic about it.
Yeah.
well, but if you gutted that and made that the entrance with the,
But we need
I don't
this
think
land.
there's
But you
Oh.
can't, there's not enough
When
room
you see
there.
it,
That doesn't solve anything
Okay.
if we don't do something with
the
it.
Okay.
floors don't line
How do
up.
we get a tour of that? Who do we talk to? The maintenance guy? Oh, Mr. White.
I don't have Pete. They won't give me-
We do not give up control of access to detention facilities. That was a good line. If you all as a group want to go and tour it, we can work that out. I'd rather not do it with each individual person.
I would like to.
I'd like to do that too.
I would like to see it.
Well, then let's schedule it now.
Can you lock them all in one cell when you get
I got beds per 10 per 10.
I'm not going on that tour because I've already been. But I don't think the assessor's been yet. so.
Where'd it go?
Okay.
Oh, LB.
I can do tomorrow, you want to do it as early as tomorrow morning? I can do it at 10:30.
I think that works for me.
I can do that.
Anybody not want to do 10:30 at manana?
10:30 works.
Let's meet here.
Okay, we
Okay.
done?
Yep.
I move we stand in recess till 4:30.
Second.
Aye.
You gonna call the vote, Judge?
Call a vote.
Aye.
Um,
You're getting the hang of it. 3 more years, you'll be on it. Good buddy. Old buddy.
go drink some of your
What do you sign
Pepsi.
it?
I want